Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your support. I want to say that next week I'll be in Western Wing to do a feature, of course, working on some grant. And so if you are someone who is from Western and you'll be available for an exclusive interview, can reach out to me. Now, William Samoei Ruto and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni seems to be on the know on what exactly is playing out between Kenya and Uganda. Apart from their positions as the presidents of the two countries, they are buddies. And I want to say that Kenya must not allow itself to be used as a decoy in what looks like Ugandan Ugandan transition matters. We have our own sovereignty, and some friends are not just worth entertaining. We got ourselves, and we have seen we've seen Kenyans coming out to complain on the outburst by the Lieutenant General Muhoozi on Twitter. Kenyans reacting. The Kenyans who are staying in Uganda and the Ugandans who are staying in Kenya, some of them are working here in the country. And they've been taken through an emotional cycle. What am I talking about? After yesterday's tweets by Ugandan Army General, who is the son to Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, today he held a closed meeting with the son in the morning. And after that meeting, what came out is that Muhoozi was dropped as the commander of the land forces. But what I have seen media looking as a dropping or as a demotion, he was promoted to the position of a general. So I have, today I was reading the Mail, the Monitor. Monitor is one of the leading e-papers in Uganda. They're saying President Yoweri Museveni, who is the Commander-in-Chief of Defense Forces, Tuesday promoted his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, from the rank of Lieutenant General to General. General is the highest rank in the hierarchy of Ugandan's People's Defense Forces. What does that mean? That he is actually in charge. This is coming after that Twitter meltdown, where Kenyans were really worried of what was happening. And if you want to know that we are not talking of a coincidence, he rushed to Twitter and immediately changed his profile after that announcement came out, and he edited his Twitter profile, replacing his former titles of that Lieutenant General to SPA/SO, which is Senior Presidential Advisor / Special Operations. Which means that they were in agreement with the father, and they agreed that that decision for him to be promoted is something that he took, and maybe that is what was at play. Or better still, you can look at it that that's what he wanted. So there is no point of disagreement, because I've not seen the status in Uganda coming out to disown his states. There is no point of disagreement between Muhoozi or Museveni and the son. That's one thing you can debunk. So what exactly is happening? Remember, today our Foreign Affairs nominee, Alfred Mutua, met with the Ugandan ambassador in Kenya and dispelled those tweets saying that the government distanced itself from those things. Now, from the way I've been following this, and I've been so keen on this because of my interest in international politics, and I've really remained within this for some time following tabs on this, there is something that this is now emerging to be. This is purely emerging to be a Ugandan affair. It has nothing to do with Kenya. It has nothing to do with President Uhuru Kenyatta's name, whose name was being dragged yesterday. And it's purely a Ugandan affair. What is worrying me is the kind of friendship and the relationship in the mazoeano that we have with Uganda, that what will be an internal political affair in Uganda, they are dragging Kenyan name, rather they are dragging us into it just to manage their environment and to manage their affairs. I want to agree with my good friend Susan that we are two democracies, and democracies don't fight. We can't go to war against each other. It's never about it. The tweets are just so jokey. And in fact, I was just learning today when I was doing my research that he's a fan of doing these tweets, because at one point he was even commenting about something in Ethiopia, and the military had to distance themselves from it. And of course, he's been there. Now, let me tell you, it is 2026 politics at play, transition politics at play. Ugandans are supposed to go to elections to elect another president. But what worries me, what I wonder is, they're not going to elections now. It's still 4 years to come. What will be the hurry, or what is happening? Is Museveni safe in Uganda? I asked that question the way our good lawyer Mutai Nguni asked that question. So let me just bring you up to speed with, let me just open up your mind about this latest development. General Muhoozi has been out of social media for 6 months, nearly 6 months. So when he came back in Twitter, and to tweet about, most has been tweeting about the politics, both local and at the regional level. When he meets president, he will post the photos and share there. So he was a bit inactive, and so when he came back, in fact, some people, I was talking to some of the journalists from there, were saying that they didn't have an idea that he was even back. So when he came back to Twitter, why do you think he chose Twitter? He chose Twitter because he wanted to interact with a demographic there. There is a specific target population that is targeting to speak to, and that is the millennials, or the young people of Uganda. Now, I read in the same Monitor, they are reporting something interesting, that he's been creating posters and billboards about vouching for his presidency, taking over from Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That has been here. And he's been printing billboards and t-shirts talking about the same. I remember immediately that decision was made and he edited his profile. If you check the Twitter, you will realize that people are talking about presidency 2026, our next president. In fact, they're not even talking about presidents. They're talking about our next president. So who knows when Uganda is going to get the next president? Is someone willing or planning to relinquish power to the son? Those are the questions that people are now trying to find answers to. Now, I want to mention, I want to also to look at this. When he showed the intent to vie for office, remember he is in the uniformed, and when he showed the intent to vie for office, in the same article in the Monitor, he's saying that people and some members of the uniformed forces who were with Museveni in 1986 from the bush did not feel comfortable, and of course wanted to feel like they would be the heir to the throne, because they saw Muhoozi as a greenhorn in matters governance, or rather the military affairs. So this has been also creating a bit of camps, where there is camp that one believe he should really rise to the ranks, and he's rising and enduring to the In fact, he's one of the military men that has been commenting about politics. Remember, there is a policy of keeping off the issues of politics. But blend of political influence and military influence he's been sitting quite uncomfortable by some elements around the transition team. So these are all issues that really came to the general. Now, why are we getting into this? Why are we getting involved into this? And that is why I feel that William Ruto must just assert his authority and just don't allow this country to be dragged into such. That's below our dignity. You know, that's below us. We are a rule of law. We are a democracy. And yes, we can have our own problems, but at least we brag of having a mature democracy. These are things that we have as a country. These are our own cultures that we are building, and we are creating very good foundations for the future generation. So why are we being dragged into this? Before we look at that, I want to bring to your attention something that I've also imagined very interesting. I think after the death of Tom Mboya, there was to be a vote of no confidence to be passed against Kenyatta by then, and that was led by opposition politics. So there was a creation of an enemy, and at that moment, even there was a creation of a crisis. And so it was believed that President handlers organized with the IDM inside, and they staged invasion of Kisumu and all the way to Naivasha and all that. And so it created a common enemy, and people converged to fight the one enemy. Before everyone else knew, the former president, or the late President Jomo Kenyatta, had settled and again managed the situation. So who is managing the situation? Just using that example, and if you want to put this into context, who do you think is managing the situation using that? I want to say something. Nairobi capture tweets were actually a cover-up, but the issue was this promotion was on the offering. And someone was just diverting the attention. It was so unfortunate that the Nairobi capture stories and tweets was just used perhaps to capture the attention, to divert the attention. Remember, Museveni is sitting as a president there, and there's been a general narrative that he would want to install one of his cronies there, or rather his son there. And he has a neighboring country which is enjoying some sort of democracy. And a decision that maybe just to elevate the general directly to that position would have elicited reactions even at the regional level. So this could also be just a ploy, just using your good neighbor to cover up and divert attention so that that decision is made. But I also see Blackmail Ruto government to support them. There could be a possibility that, I remember yesterday the same issue when it came, he was tweeting about, we don't believe in democracy, in rule of law, we believe in revolution. So if a revolution is to come and it gets wayward or it gets out of hand, then the good neighbor Kenya is one of the institutions that will come to intervene and help. So what does it mean? Maybe they have known that there are things that are running there, and they're just looking for the support of William Ruto. Are we being blackmailed to be involved in their own scaffolds? Is this something that we also have to look at? Now, lastly, I see transition plans. There is just issue of Museveni transition, and it has started so early. That's what should worry Ugandans, that it has started so early. Why? You know, Bobby Wine is youthful and is one of the leaders that is having the waves. He actually ran riot against Museveni in the last general election that was held in Uganda. So, and the advantage was on his age, and he's appealing to the youth. Now the military, there seems to be someone who is coming who's also youthful. That tells you that the transition is taking shape. And why this early? Is someone exiting the stage before 2026? Those are the questions that are here. Internal wrangles within just themselves. And ladies and gentlemen, that's my take on this. I believe that Museveni, William Ruto might be on the no. Maybe it's only us who doesn't understand. Because even the way this has been handled, it's been so casual, you know. We've not seen, there's nothing, there's no presence, there is no vigilance that you can say is causing alarm. In fact, the president is deputy Wanyeri. So what's the threat for? There is nothing to fear about, ladies and gentlemen. That is my bold analysis.